Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk about order effects bias and carryover effects bias. Topic is order effects and carryover effects. Okay, these two effects or these two biases are linked to related tests. So as we talked about in our previous video where we do related tests, we will face the problem of bias, and there are two types. First type is order effects. The second type is carryover effects. Okay. And in this video, I want to talk about each one of them. So let me first give you the definition of them. Definition: order effects are participants behavior change from one part of the experiment to the next, usually as a result of repetition. So the word repetition is important here. So this is the effects that people change their behavior because they're repeating the experiment or the test, right? So repetition is the key word here. And now let's look at the definition for carryover effects. Carryover effects. Okay, carryover effects is the effects that carry over from one part of the experiment, to the other, because previous part affects the later part. Okay, so in this case, the effects bias is because there's something in the previous part of the experiment that's affecting the later one. So it's not due to repetition, it's because there's something in the previous part that's affecting how you do in the later part, right? And we'll do an example for you to see how they're different. But they look very similar, but they're kind of very different when we look into details. Okay, so let's work on an example. Okay. An example is the experiment that look at your ability to solve a strategy computer game in different environment. So there are three rooms. So room 1 is a room with noise, okay, with a bunch of noise. And then room 2, there's no noise. And there's one instructor to teach you how to play. Instructor to teach you before you play. Okay, so that's room 2. Room 2, no noise. There's one instructor in the room to teach you how to play before you play, right? Teach you before you play. And then room 3, dim light. So the lighting is not very good in room 3. And the question is, or what we're looking at is which room you're in that you'll perform the best, or are you going to perform better in room 1, room 2, or room 3, right? So which environment is better? Okay, let me just put the question: which room is better? Okay, and that's the question: which room is better? So how are we going to do this? So again, we're doing a related test, right? So with same group of people, same sample. So the way we do this is we're going to pick a group of people and assign them to each room. Okay, so we're gonna pick a group of people and then we're gonna assign them to each room. Okay, and now the question is, does order matters, right? So are you gonna assign them to room 2 first, room 1, or room 3? Which one first, which one second, and which one last? So the question is, does order matter? Does order matter? So room 1 first, 2, 3, 2, 1, 3, 3, 2, 1. So does order matter, right? Which room you put them in first? And then the answer is yes, the order matters. And then looking at how each arrangement will lead to different results, we can demonstrate the order effects and the carryover effects. Let's talk about the order effect first. Okay, so order effects. Okay, so what's order effects? A definition is the effect of repetition. Okay, it's the effect of repetition. So let's say the order, you want to put them in 1, 2, 3. Room 1, room 2, and room 3. So from room 1 to room 2, this is what we call the order effects, right? Because when in room 1 you started, in room 1 you already pick up some skills, you know, and then you do it again in room 2. It's by repeating this experiment, you already since you already pick up some skills in room 1, you're going to use those skills in room 2. Okay. So from room 1 to room 2, already learned some skills. And this is created bias, right? Because you already learned some skills in room 1 and then you are using the skills in room 2, and it just biased the results in room 2. Okay? And this is what we call bias from repetition. Okay? Bias from repetition, and therefore this is our order effects. Okay, order effects is just based on you're repeating the experiment. Okay, so now let's talk about carryover effects. Okay, carryover effects. Okay, to demonstrate this, let me write out two orders. Okay, 2, 1, 3, and 1, 3, 2. Okay. Remember, in room 2, there's an instructor to teach you how to play before you play. Okay. So room 2, let me just denote it. Instructor. Okay. Instructor teaching you. So in room 2, what happened is you will learn knowledge and learn skills, right? Then it's different than you only learning the skills and there's no one to teach you how to play the knowledge. So from room 2 to room 1, there's what we call the carryover teaching effects plus the order effect by repeating the game. Okay, and let's compare with this order: 1, 2, 3. From room 1 to room 3, there's no instructor in room 1, so there's no instructions and no teaching effects. So here, there's no teaching effects. Okay, and no teaching effects. Then what you only get here is your order effects. Okay, so as you can see, what's the difference between these two? The difference is whether you have an instructor or not. And whether you have an instructor or not, it depends on which room you start with. And since it depends on the part of the experiment, let's say the first part, since the later part depends on whether the instructor is in the first part, this is what we call the carrying over effects. Okay, so the difference between these two, is the instructor effect or the carryover effects. Okay, so as you can see, the order effects are from repeating the game. The carryover effects are from whether there's an instructor in the room or not. Okay, very good. So this video talk about the concept of order effects and carryover effects. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.